Hi guys, welcome back to Amalgamated Moi, and welcome to another episode of creating my ideal Smash Brothers game. If you haven't seen the other episodes, here's a recap. I won't be considering any games that I was introduced to through Smash Brothers, so no Pikmin or Xenoblade or Fire Emblem or a bunch of others. Now let's get into the first half of the Classic Mode runs for a brand new roster. This classic mode will operate the same way it did in Smash Ultimate, with each character on the roster having their own set of battles based on their run's theme. And at the end they will fight one of 10 bosses I've prepared. These bosses are King Boo from Mario, Calamity Ganon from Zelda, Kraid from Mario, the Wither from Minecraft, Yveltal from Pokemon, Dark Gaia from Sonic, Typhon from Immortals Phoenix Rising, the Queen from Lost in Random, Stanislav Lev Robot for Google Doodles, and a brand new series, the Trudge from Repo. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the first run with Mario, entitled Let's Go. Similarly to in Smash Ultimate, Mario will face off against video games protagonists, with his battles against Twilight Princess Link and Skyward Sword Zelda, Samus, Steve and Sonic, Mega Man and Simon, and Kirby and Even and Dicey, with his boss battle being against Bowser and then King Boo, just being bosses from his franchise. For Luigi's run, you'll face off against the Player 2 characters from the games represented in the roster. First is Impa in her Age of Calamity ult, then Tails, Bob, Fireboy and Water Girl in their palette swap, and finally the Google Doodle Ghost in the Plum ult. And Luigi's boss is against the Wither, being the second boss for Minecraft after the Ender Dragon. Peach's route is entitled Smash Sisters, facing off against most of the female characters on the roster. Peach will face Zelda and Impa, Samus and Medusa, Isabelle and Alex, Cookie Mama and Gorgo, and finally the Fab Fairies and Even and Dicey, with the Queen as the boss. Bowser's run is titled Fiery Fury, where he faces off against characters that are often associated with fire. I had to get a bit creative with this one, having Bowser face Cyndaquil and Charizard, Fireboy and Water Girl, Mega Man and Samus, Duck Hunt and Mii Fighter, and Ridley, with Mario in his Firepower ult and Typhon as the boss power. While the last four were pretty generic, Yoshi is where it gets a bit more interesting. I've titled it A Hungry Dinosaur, where each round he'll face an opponent representing a common Mario enemy. Squirtle for Koopa Troopa, Kirby in his Waddle Dee ult for Goomba, Pac-Man in his Inky ult for Chain Chomp, Ivysaur for Piranha Plant, Ridley in his NES ult for Rex, and his boss fight is against King Boo. Rosalina was kept on the roster to represent the Mario spin-off games. So, her classic mode run will be based on Mario Kart, facing Mario, Peach, and Bowser, Toad, Yoshi, and Luigi, DK in his Mario Kart ult, Breath of the Wild Link and Isabelle as the non-Mario reps in Mario Kart 8, and Mii Fighter, since their face select in this concept game is based on Mario Karts, and the boss as King Boo. Donkey Kong's is similar to Peach, where it is titled Every Damsel in Distress, where he goes against characters that have been kidnapped in their series. So, Rosalina in her Orange ult for Daisy, Zelda, the Fab Fairies, Medusa in her Palutena ult, and Peach in her Pauline ult, ending with the Queen of Random as the boss. Toad, the final Mario rep, gets runs representing some of the bosses in Mario 2. Pink Yoshi for Birdo, Pikachu for Mouser, Fireboy and Water Girl for Fry Guy, 3 Red Ridleys for Triclide, Nightmare King Dedede for the Mask Gate, and the boss fight is against Kraid to stand in for Wart. Alright, Mario is done, on to Zelda, starting with Link. I've titled his Many Foes for Many Heroes, as a reference to how every game's Link is not the same, but they all face some kind of new foe. So you start against Ganondorf in his NES ult, followed by Link in his Link's Shadow ult, then Kirby in his Meta Knight ult to reference Nightmare from Link's Awakening, Fury Bowser for the Imprisoned, Ganondorf in his Tears of the Kingdom ult, and a boss fight against Calamity Ganon. Zelda's run is entitled The Sages of Hyrule. She'll fight Impa in her Fi ult for Kia, Pink King Dedede for Argoston, Pit for Rafika, Gorgo for Artie, Mewtwo in his shiny ult for Minoru, and a boss fight against Calamity Ganon with another shiny Mewtwo ally to reference Rauru. Ganondorf is the exact opposite of Mario, being titled King of Evil, where he'll fight the villains of this new Smash Brothers game. Donkey Kong and King Dedede, Bowser, Puppet Master, the Dark Lord, Ridley and Emmy, and a boss fight as the Wither. The final Zelda rep, Impa, gets titled Devoted Warrior, where she will fight characters that somewhat fit into that theme, being Mega Man, Phoenix, Samus, Little Mac, and Link from Skyward Sword, along with a boss battle against the Trudge. being a slow boss and therefore must be devoted to catching its target. A stretch, maybe, but I like it. Kirby's is similar to Toad's, being titled Adventures Through Dreamland, fighting Ivysaur to represent the Wispy Woods, Cuber and White Meryl to represent Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright, Meta Knight Kirby for Meta Knight, King Dedede, and the Puppet Master to represent Nightmare, and a boss fight against King Boo, either just because he gives the vibes of a Kirby boss, or he could represent Kracko. King Dedede's carries over from Ultimate, still being Royal Rumble, fighting Gorgo, Zelda, Bowser, Ganondorf, Peach, and the boss is the Queen of Random. The Fab Fairies fight characters that represent the bosses of the Fey Realm in Miitopia. So, a Grayscale King Dedede for the Aldous Fab Fairy Owl, followed by an Emmy to represent Arachno Mid Fab Fairy, 3 Kirbys for the Tomato Bros, Green Pit for Scaredy Cat Butterfly, the Sage Ghost Ult for Witch Slime, and the boss is Kraid to represent the youngest Fab Fairy Frog. Strange, that's the second frog boss Kraid has been used to represent. Huh. Okay, the Dark Lord gets a run named No Faces Left to Steal, fighting Emmy, Dancer, Crewmate, and the Puppet Master, as they don't have obvious faces. And the 5th fight is against the Fab Fairies, as he already took their faces in the game. And the boss is the Trudge, as he has a skull with no face. Sonic, as I'm sure you could guess, is all about fighting the fastest characters in this game, fighting Excitebiker, Emmy, Impa, Pikachu, Tails, and Silver. And the final boss is the Trudge, who represents the exact opposite of Sonic's speed. Tails is one of the very generic runs, and is possibly the most iconic flying character, and such fights the flying, floating, gliding, etc. characters. So Tails faces off against Kirby, Balloon Fighter, Ghost, Phoenix, Pit, and Rosalina and Peach, with a boss fight against the Wither. The final Sonic rep, Silver, gets a run titled In Search of Iblis, where he will travel through universes and help the protagonists defeat their villains. So he teams up with Mario against Bowser, Samus against Ridley, Pokemon Trainer against Malamar and Mewtwo, White Alt Rosalina to represent Newt against the Puppet Master, and Link against Ganondorf, with a boss battle against Fire Flower Peach and Typhon to represent Iblis. Samus is titled Galactic Mission, facing Rosalina, Crewmate, Kirby, King Dedede, Cubert, Ridley, and the boss of Kraid. Ridley gets a run titled Fear the Dragon, where he will fight characters who've fought dragons in their home series. So, the Fab Fairies against Dominic, who don't fight him directly, but he is an opponent in Miitopia. Link and Zelda, who fight many dragons, from Aquamentus to Gleeox to Ganon in his dragon form. Pokemon Trainer against the legendary Pokemon, who are often draconic. Steve against the Ender Dragon. Pit and Mario against Hydra and Bowser. And the final boss against Kraid, who is just a Metroid boss representative, but is still reptilian. The Emmy's run is based on defeating characters that represent the abilities that Samus is able to get in Metroid Dread after defeating an Emmy. So, Bub represents the Phantom Cloak, Sonic for Speed Booster, Ice Climbers for Ice Beam, Ghost Hunter for Wave Beam, Red Mega Man for Power Bomb, and the boss of Kraid for the same reason as Ridley, just being another Metroid boss. Pit's run is titled Angelic Assistance, facing characters where religion has something to do with their game. So, Zelda being the incarnate goddess of Hyrule, Ghost Hunter using crucifixes and other symbols to ward off ghosts, Simon, who is a demon hunter, Phoenix, who's another Greek mythos representative, Medusa being Pit's boss in his series, and the final fight against Typhon, the father of monsters of Greek mythology. Medusa's run is similar to Ganondorf's, being titled Goddess of Darkness, facing heroes from various series, being Mario and Luigi, Link, Samus, Simon, and Mega Man, with a boss fight against, once again, Typhon. Now the final series of this video, Pokemon! Pikachu's run is entitled Mr. Moneymags, as a reference to Pokemon being the highest grossing media franchise of all time. So he faces off against his closest competitors, Isabelle, Steve, Sonic, Mario, and Pac-Man, with the boss being the Wither, as Minecraft is the best-selling single video game. Pokemon Trainers is another run that carries over from Ultimate, facing all of the Pokemon fighters, being Pikachu, Cyndaquil, Malamar, Meryl, Mewtwo, and the boss of Yveltal. Mewtwo's is titled A Created Monstrosity, fighting characters who were in some way created into the villain or monster that they are in their games, facing Emmy, the Dark Lord, Sonic's Werehog Alt, Link's Shadow, and Medusa, who is cursed by Palutena in Kid Icarus. And finally, the Wither, who is literally built by the player. Cyndaquil's is a growing flame, and just like Bowser, will fight fire-based characters, starting with Mario and Luigi and their Fire Flower Alts, Fireboy and Water Girl, Charizard, Ridley, Bowser, and the boss fight against the Wither. Malamars is entitled Psychic Squid, where he faces characters who have psychic or magical abilities, being Zelda, Puppet Master, Silver, Mewtwo, Medusa, and Yveltal. And the final classic mode run for this video, Maryl's, is similar to Tails, being titled Just Floating Around, where Meryl will fight Rosalina, Balloon Fighter, Bub, the Puppet Master, and Kirby, with King Boo as the boss. And there you have it, the first half of the classic mode runs for this Smash roster. I hope to release the second half soon, but for now I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you let me know in the comments what you think about these new bosses and classic mode runs, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!